Hello and welcome back to Nelson All Over Cards. Today we have a very exciting video because I am here with Brian and Jonah, who helped with the MCDC planning and design of the new cards, and we're going to talk about some of those new cards. How are y'all doing? Jonah, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Nelson. Jonah, I go on Discord. My superhero fake name is JG on Discord. So if we go by that, that's me. But very unimaginative in that respect. But yeah, really happy to be here. Excited to kind of share the rest of this set of cards that we've got. Um, as you mentioned, MCDC is an event that we're hosting here in the DC area end of October, so about a month from when we're recording this. And super excited to see y'all there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Brian, who are you? What do you do?
Hello, I'm Brian, also V Jackson on the socials and whatnot. Um, so we are in the DC area, but it's a pretty extended area. Includes Northern Virginia and all the way up to Baltimore and Maryland. And we are putting together this con, which we have about 100 people attending. And so it's going to be a pretty big event, and we're real excited to have people for the whole weekend. And we're rolling out this the preview season of these custom cards that we are going to be giving to people when they arrive. We're going to be using it as part of the programming at the con and making it available online for people who want to play at home if they don't have tickets.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess like fortunately, unfortunately, I don't know how to feel about this. I'm happy because I'm going to be able to go, but congratulations, you all did sell out, which is awesome. This is the first year of the MCDC Con. It is, like you said, happening in DC. So, the name. I love the name, by the way. It's so catchy. It's so fun to just like say. And it's happening the weekend of the 25th of October. And so if you are not able to come, we will have me. No, the files will be available to print and play and download. Those links will be available closer to the con time. And so just make sure that I'm going to post those either in a video or on the community page. So if you are interested in playing with some of these cards that we're going to be talking about today, absolutely you can do that. And it sounds like we're even going to have links. I say we all the time. This is not me. I didn't do anything. I'm just talking. It sounds like the links will be available for people to buy them or send them directly to the printer, which is going to be pretty cool because that's always kind of been a barrier to entry, at least for me with some of this custom content, is like I don't know how to get it out. I've actually like printed it out on like computer paper and cut it out and put it behind in front of cards and stuff before, and that's been my solution. But
yeah, we'll give you the template that we sent to the printer. So if you use the same company, then you can just send it to them and it'll work that way. That'll be the easiest way.
Exactly, and then we hope to have some TTS files available too for those people who want to play it digitally with friends across the world. We'll make all that available. We want to preview everything. We want to get people excited and coming to the con, and we're going to release it that weekend. And that weekend, hopefully, if everything goes well, will also be the week after Civil War is available here. There'll be a double celebration of official things from FFG and then our very unofficial fan-made stuff that we're going to be doing as our con. So
nice, very good, very good. That'll be awesome. I'm so looking forward to Civil War. So gonna be a good week. So the cards that we're going to be talking about today are from a modular set. Now, if I understand correctly, this is not the only custom content that's going to be new at the con, correct?
Correct. Yeah. This is one of the modulars that we put together to integrate into the programming that we have planned. And we also have a second modular, and then that one is going to be being previewed over the next coming weeks as well, all over the Marvel Champions community. So get a sense ahead of time of a couple of the mods that we have. We also have some other things that we're giving out, some challenges, scenario-specific challenges, some fun things that you could do with people, and some other surprises that everybody will get when they arrive. yeah, all that's going to be available online for free for everybody to share in. But we're really excited. Jonah and I did a lot of the programming and the design work for these cards, but we have a pretty thriving big community, and there is a big number of people we had involved in the planning. It wouldn't have happened without the dozen plus people we had working on this program and the event. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm really looking forward to seeing more cards because the mod set that I have seen teased, which is Doom's Ascension, has some really interesting concepts. And so I believe the first couple of cards were previewed on the Critical Encounters podcast. Was that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
So I was on in their lair, they like to say. Critical
Nice.
Encounters, but I was in their lair for a couple of episodes. The second of which actually came out this week. The first one was last week.
Nice.
And so we previewed the first, I think it was 7 cards of the 9-card modular set there. So go check out those videos or the audio, the podcast audio there for that, and then we'll kind of complete the 9-card set with you here today.
Nice. And I will link those episodes down below because I do want you all to take a look at that. But can you give me an idea of what this modular set is? Because it's cool.
Yeah, we had like a really early idea that we wanted to do Doom. And so we actually like tossed around ideas of like, do we want to do a whole custom scenario? And then we very quickly realized that we didn't want to do that. One, because it's just a ton of work to design an entire scenario. And two, I think the way we were talking about it is that we actually all love modular sets. Like we love the modular set angle that this game has, and we love like mixing and matching modular sets. And so the idea of doing a modular set instead of a scenario or a couple of modular sets really like jumped out at us as like, this is what we want to do. And so we had the idea for Doom right off the bat, and we kicked around a bunch of ideas with the team. And then, the idea came forward. I got it. It's Ironheart, but a minion. It's Doom. Doom is Ironheart, but as a minion, right? So we had a version where he kind of like had version 1, version 2, version 3, like Ironheart does. And then, for various mechanical reasons and thematic reasons, like that didn't make as much sense. But I think some of the DNA of that is still in the set here.
Yeah, we all are, we had traveled out to Con of Heroes. We all love Con of Heroes. They do scenarios. We wanted to, not bite off more than we can chew because we know how much work they put into those scenarios. And we know, it's a lot of work to put that in. And the other thing is once we started talking about Doom, we were like, Doom, we want Doom everywhere. And, hopefully one day we'll have an official Doom scenario, and, we can let the design team that actually know what they're doing better than us make a full one. So we were like, okay, well, we can make a mod and have Doom kind of show up wherever you want him to. And yeah, I think a lot of us are big fans of the emergent storytelling that happens while you're playing the game. Something comes out at a memorable moment. And, as Jonah said, sort of the mod is sort of designed to tell the story of Doom while you're playing. And I think we did a decent job of capturing that. And then there's, as you'll see with the cards we're previewing today, there's some, we're trying really hard to like capture the core essence of the character of Doom, because, Doom mod set, he comes out as a minion, but he's nobody's minion. He doesn't work for anyone. He's got his own, desires, his own plans. He's working to his own means, and he doesn't really have time for the villain or for the heroes. So we tried to capture that, and hopefully we did enough that it's fun for people to throw it in and out of scenarios.
Yeah, we've got a couple of interactions between Doom, and like it reminds me of maybe like a Thunderbolt or like the Ronin Prince and Prey play, where it's like, yeah, he's a minion, but it's like he's a big minion, right? So it's kind of centered around this almost villain. But we start out with Victor Von Doom just to kind of give everybody an idea, because I want to give kind of a snapshot idea of what the mod set is trying to do before we talk about the new cards. So we start out with Victor Von Doom, who starts on the table. Can you talk about kind of the play with Victor Von Doom into the Rise of Doom to bring out Dr. Doom, all of this stuff? Because I also have no idea about the theme. I don't know Doom's backstory, and so hearing that the mechanics tied directly into the theme is pretty exciting, because I also want to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Victor is meant to capture the kind of moment in time before we kind of are introduced to Doom in the comics, and like obviously this predates any of us. This was all like before any of us were alive, right in the '60s when the Fantastic Four came out. But Reed Richards and Doom went to college together. They were sort of rivals in college, and Doom wanted to date Sue, and so did Reed, and there was this whole like tension there, right? But Victor was sort of known as a brilliant but very reckless student, and sort of budding scientist at that point. And I believe the story is I was never like a huge Fantastic Four guy with comics when I was into comics, but I believe the story is that Victor's like the reason that Victor was all scarred up is because he did some reckless experiment in that period of time that backfired and kind of blew up in his face, literally, and scarred his face. And so this is pre that experiment, and the Victor card itself is meant to kind of capture that thematically and mechanically with him damaging himself when he activates against you.
He's a monarch, an heir to this ruling class of this country. He's pompous, he has a lot of hubris, and his hubris ultimately leads to his downfall. So with the minion, we try to capture that, where if you ignore him, he's going to be causing problems for you, and then he'll eventually leave, but maybe that causes worse problems because now Doom's mad. And you can take him out, but then he just gets madder quicker. So we tried to capture that.
So Victor Von Doom turns into the Rise of Doom, which then summons Dr. Doom. And Dr. Doom is a 2/8 tough, steady, villainous 3 boost icons and a star, where you have to deal it to yourself as a face down encounter card. So he's not going away, and he doesn't have victory, so you take him out, he's coming back. He's going to be a persistent problem throughout the game. And if I understand Link correctly, he does not start in the encounter deck. The only way you get him is through this Dr. Doom kind of interaction, or Rise of Doom interaction with the side scheme, correct?
Yeah, I think that's the point where I think there's going to be some confusion for people. Link it's not new. I mean, it came out with Next Evolution and Specialized Training, but so that's where people are used to seeing it. But as we were searching for a way mechanically to capture that kind of like evolution of Doom, having him set aside at the beginning of the game was helpful, because in some of our test games, like you had Victor out, and then like the very first turn an encounter card comes out and it's Dr. Doom, and then we had to deal with like you have 2 versions of the same character out. They don't have the same name. You can't so you've got to have like a forced interrupt or forced response or whatever when on one of them to discard the other, and it was a mess like mechanically. And so the side scheme and the linked keyword was the answer. Actually, I think it was Brian's idea of how to mechanically do that, so you can only have one in at a time, and so you have that evolution of sort of the Victor version and the Dr. Doom version, and then we'll see a little bit more as we go there.
Exactly. And so what happens is Victor is defeated, and he becomes a side scheme, and the side scheme tells you now you have to deal with Doom, and Doom comes out, and he's a print and pray, quite literally. He's going to come in and blast you huge. And you have a moment where Victor's out of the picture, and you have a little bit of freedom, and then Doom comes in, and Doom is causing trouble for you. Maybe he's even worse than the villain you're facing. And so that is Doom. We didn't want Doom, even if he's a minion, to be a pushover, to be this big moment. But the thing with Doom is that whenever you think you have the advantage, it's really he's got a plan. He's going to turn it against you. So the way we have it work is when you defeat Doom, if the side scheme is in play, the side scheme becomes victory. So if the side scheme leaves, and you're like, oh, we defeated Doom, and it's like, oh no, here out comes the attachment, God Emperor Doom. So Doom heals back up, sort of like your Exodus minion or whoever, that you think you defeat, but no, actually they're back, and he's worse. So if you want to talk about the God Emperor Doom and how that ups the ante.
First off, before Jonah, you talk about this, I want to say that is so mean. Exodus is one of the banes of my existence, and this is brutal. I love it. Nice.
I mean,
okay.
the previous version was as soon as you defeat him, so it's not as bad as it could be, right? So we tested a version where you defeat him and then he instantly heals back up and gets the attachment, which gives him, by the way, +1 attack and built-in overkill and
an extra
5
health
per player hit points.
Yeah. That was really mean. Yeah.
That was mean. And we all kind of like looked at each other and we're like, all right, well, like that's like too mean. So we decided that instead of that, it's the end of the round. So you have a full player phase and then a villain phase to try to prepare for that.
Catch your breath. Yeah. Prepare for the worst.
Prepare for the worst.
Nice. Yeah. So God Emperor Doom comes out, kind of does this whole rehash. What is also, as you're explaining the card, how do you pronounce the trait? I don't. Latveria?
Oh, Latveria. Yeah, that's the country that he's the king of. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, cool. I saw that. I was like, I have no idea what that means.
Yes. He's a king. He's an emperor. He's a god.
Yeah.
He comes out and he's got extra health. So if you're playing multiplayer, it's per player. So, at the con, we assume that you're going to be in a 3 or 4 player game. So you get a big giant, this minion who's now really the villain for this moment, and you have to deal with it. And it's mean, but once you defeat God Emperor Doom, luckily the attachment goes away. Doom goes to your discard. You're never really fully done with Doom. He goes to the discard, but luckily the attachment's away. And we did build in a little bit of like reward for taking out Doom. So you get to draw cards and heal up a little bit, which sort of mechanically and thematically, it's like, okay, you've dealt with the big bad, and now that villain guy, we gotta go deal with him or her, and you get a little bit of reward to help you on that journey. But Doom's never really gone. As anybody that follows the comics, he's died so many times that he'll come back.
Yeah, I do want to call out, I love the kind of 3D artwork that's going on in the Doctor Doom card, where kind of he's pointing. It has that 3D effect where like his arm is in front of the attack and scheme stats. It just like creates this like nice depth to the card. I always love it when that happens, so kudos to that.
Yeah,
that looks sick.
That's all Jonah.
When I was looking for art, I looked at like every Doom comic under the sun, and as soon as I saw that panel, it was a splash panel from an issue that I forget the number of, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is the one. Like, this is because I had like 5 options, and I was like, Brian, what do you think of these? And he's like, they're all fine, like they're good. And then I saw this one, and I was like, no, I got it, and I sent it to the group, and they're like, yes, that's it. So. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool art. And then I think the rest of the set, actually, like, again, I was into comics when I was a young teenager. So it was nice to kind of like see like a whole swath of comics that have come out in the, many more years than I care to think about since I was a teenager. Including all the art from this whole set was all like post my comics experience as a teenager.
Nice. Now there are a lot of other cards in the set, but I'm not going to touch on those because I want to point everyone to the Critical Encounters podcast and go show them some love to check out what the Doom bots and everything else does in the set. We have 2 cards that we're going to be talking about today. The first one is a obligation, and so we're getting side schemes, treacheries, minions, and obligations in this mod set, which is pretty fun. I don't know if I can't really think of one that has all of those in it. There may be one, but I don't know. Yeah, it's not worth thinking about right now.
Ones, maybe Master of Time.
King's
Master of King. Okay.
I don't know if his modular sets have those or not, but I think his main set does have a lot of obligations. So.
Yeah. I am really excited about this because we're seeing a new keyword that we saw in Trickster Takeover for the first time, which is a forced action. So I'm going to read through the card, and then I'm hoping that y'all can talk about it a little bit. But we got a Deal with Doom, which is an obligation, meaning that when you draw it, it goes into your play area, and it's really good because you get a +1 hand size and +1 thwart, and we're all happy about that until you start reading the rest of the card. Or it has this forced action, which is the new action type that we saw in Trickster Takeover, meaning that you have to take it before the end of your turn. And it says you have to take 2 indirect damage and add a threat to every scheme, which is brutal. I'm not a fan of that one. And then it has a action, which is a not a required action, but you can choose to do it. And it says you discard an ally, upgrade, or support you control with a printed cost of 2 or more to discard this card. And to top it all off, it does have a pesky acceleration token. So this is a pretty fun card. It reminds me of like Fool's Paradise, where it has like this like good and you want to keep it around. You get that extra hand size and everyone loves that, but then you're like, shoot, this is a lot going on in the card. So walk me through kind of the design of a Deal with Doom and like where did the ideas of this come from?
Yeah, so
You want to take that one?
Yeah, so I think this was sort of the last card we added to the mod when we were designing. We played some test games. One of the things, if you follow, if you're a fan of Doom, you know that the heroes are always sort of like going to Doom because he's this brilliant scientist. He has a time machine, has access to all these resources. So there's story after story where the heroes go and work with Doom, but he always wants something in return, and you always end up kind of regretting it. So we wanted to capture that, and I think we were playing, and I was like, it'd be really cool because we were thinking about for the campaign, the custom campaign that we're going to be doing at the con. Like you want to have rewards to go back and forth with the negatives, and we thought, wouldn't it be cool if like the players got an opportunity to make a deal with Doom and then regret it, and then you have to turn it up. And a lot of times the deals with Doom involve getting someone to join his side or to work with him. There's the most famous example of this is Sue and Reed Richards have a daughter, and they were struggling with the daughter and health, if I remember correctly, and Doom helped them. And in exchange, he got to be the godfather of Valeria, and he named her Valeria after Latveria, and so there's this whole relationship they have. So that's where the idea of discarding an ally or something, you have to give something to Doom for his help. And then even when he's helping you, you kind of regret what's going. And then I think Jonah was really spearheaded, what those numbers actually looked like. We hope that this captures that. And one of my favorite things is like when you're playing a game and somebody throws down like a symbiote suit. I mean, right now on Discord, people are arguing over symbiote suit, and it's like you're kind of screwing over the rest of your team, maybe making life hard for yourself. But look at these great things I get out of it, and we hope to capture kind of those moments where it's like, can you please just get rid of your Deal with Doom? And maybe the player, I don't know, maybe it's pretty good, so.
Yeah. That acceleration token could be messy. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that Brian hit it on the head with the like Valeria's, Sue's pregnancy with Valeria was the kind of design intent here. And I just dearly wanted that, like a panel from that comic to be the art here, and it just didn't. There wasn't art that would fit, and I was trying to make it work, and there was one panel that kind of worked, and like I was in Photoshop like trying to make it work. It didn't work, and then I just went back to the drawing board and just looked for other art and found this great like mini series with Rocket and Doom, and found the great panel that's actually in the art of the card. But the idea in our heads was that deal with Valeria. So he got to name her after, I think it was his like teenage crush or his first girlfriend, or it was like a woman from his past that he named Valeria after. Who was like the one who got away, right? Who like he really wanted to be with her and she didn't want to be with him, or she was like not into him. And so that that was kind of like where we were headed with this.
Nice. I think the art is perfect for what the card is trying to encompass. Just like it feels very much like Rocket is like, heck yeah, we got this, and like he has no idea what's about to hit him. I'm sure the rest of the comic, there's some bad things that fall upon Rocket. So
yeah,
really cool.
If people haven't looked at the art closely, look at Doom's. I think it's his left hand is kind of like under the table, about to press a button to like drop Rocket into a
nice
pit of spikes or something.
I think that comes from Rocket and Dr. Doom by Will Robson from a couple years ago. So
yeah, it was pretty
a
recent.
little
It was
series.
like 2019 or 20 or something like that. But yeah.
That's super fun. I want to move on to the final card of the mod set, which I think has one of the cooler boost effects I've ever seen. But this is Doom's Machinations. It says, when revealed, if Dr. Doom is in play, he activates against you. Otherwise, find and reveal Dr. Doom. Really kind of bringing back that Thunderbolt feel where you have those treacheries that pull them out and you're like, but I think it's even a little bit meaner, because once you defeat Doom, he's not gone. So so you could defeat Doom, pull him back out, but you do get that when defeated effect on Doom again, and you get to heal some and draw some. Or was it heal some and draw some?
Yeah, in fact, the whole table gets to draw 2 cards and heal 2 damage. So
that's really cool.
It's substantial, right? It's almost like a good thing when he comes out later in the game. Well, after you've gotten rid of the God Emperor thing, it's like you're not so sorry to see him. In some way.
But the boost effect here, I think, is super cool. It says that if the villain is attacking, you're going to find and reveal Dr. Doom. You're going to remove his tough status card and resolve the villain's attack against Doom. So now you're not even taking the attack. Doom's coming out. He's going to be at a little bit less health, but then Doom's going to be attacking you. So if you've exhausted or something to defend against this villain attack, now you're taking a Dr. Doom attack undefended, which could be absolutely brutal. Talk to me about the design here, because this is, I don't think we've seen anything really like this. Pretty cool.
Yeah, we had a bunch of ideas for like things that were a little bit off the beaten path with this, and I think one of the guys in our team, James, like he and I were chatting once, and he said, like there's like Doom is always like there's not just he's infighting with other villains, and like it happens all the time in the comics. He's more of a comics guy than I am. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, well, what if like one of the cards like made them attack each other or something? And I was like, yes, I love that. Let's use that. Right. So that was where we landed with this of like again, as Brian said earlier, like Doom is he is a card type minion, but he is no one's minion. So he is out for himself, and he is scheming in the metaphorical sense for his own purposes. And sometimes the villain doesn't like they're at cross purposes, and so they would fight each other. So that was the idea here. And then just the mechanics of like get him in play. I didn't want the tough card to like take it because he has toughness, so he would just have a tough card. So I was just like, get rid of the tough card, put some damage on him. And I even, so I think that idea of like their infighting was like a really cool idea. And then I even liked it so much, we sort of put the converse scenario on a different card that critical encounters. We talked about critical encounters. So there's a side scheme where it brings Doombots and Doom, if you're playing like a 4-player game, brings all the Doombots in, brings Doom in, but then they all attack the villain as a part of the side schemes when revealed effect. So
yeah, and it kind of balances out the toughness of the mod set itself. As you pointed out, Nelson, like if it just found Doom and brought it in, you would get hit by the villain with this giant boost, and then get hit by a 2/2 that is also activating. So
who else? Who has villainous also?
That's really mean. So we thought, okay, Doom and the villain's like, you again, and Doom is there. Doom wants the glory for himself. The villain doesn't like that Doom's got machinations against him. That's the idea, but it also is a little bit of a reprieve for the players, because we wanted Doom to come out a lot. We want him to be the star of when you use him as a mod. And there's a lot of real fun emergent storytelling there. I definitely remember in playtesting this, having a villain you're playing your encounter card is like this giant attachment attack, like the future weapon that's +2. I think actually it might have been an apocalypse thing where it's like the super strength, it flips him to giant mode
Mm-hmm.
where he's like a 3 attack, it's a +2, and then it says stun after you detect this stun and remove this. So that comes out as the first encounter card. Second encounter card is assault. Assault comes out the boost card, and you're like, I just lost. Boost card is doom comes out, and apocalypse is like bam to doom, and you're like, oh, it stunned him. So it's like, oh, thanks apocalypse. Okay, uh, we'll deal with that. And then as Jonah says, the inverse happens sometimes where doom comes out, and we hope that sometimes maybe Doom comes out and steals glory for himself and wins a game for the players. Then you really owe him.
Yeah, it has this like weird balance. I'm really excited to actually try it because I can't tell if it's good or not, right? Because like you are like if you have a defense plan for the villain attack, that defense plan is used up. So you kind of almost have a backup option just in case you do draw this card, because then you're going to get hit by something that you have maybe no allies to block for. And so like now Doom is out, he has significantly less health, at least I don't know, probably 3 or 4 less health, so he's sitting at like 4 health, and you can take him out, you get to heal 2, draw 2 cards, but then you're like but I don't know, like now I just need to have some answer for a attack that I did not see coming. And so that's I think a very clever design. I'm looking forward to this one. Any I guess like I'm just kind of curious, so if you don't have time, just let me know. But like throughout the design and iteration of this mod set, were there any challenges that you ran into that you had to like be like, okay, this is how we need to modify this because, well, that didn't work, or anything like that you can talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I talked a little bit earlier about the various versions that we had, sort of like a Victor's version 1, Doctor Doom version 2, and God Emperor Doom. It used to be not an attachment; it used to be like an actual minion card. So that mechanically, we tried to make that work like 2 different ways, and it just wasn't working. And then we just sort of had to like go back to the drawing board a little bit and be like, okay, yeah, we still want to preserve the kind of thematic element of this. The mechanics just aren't working with the multiple versions because there's no like built-in way to like, without a bunch of text on the card as like a forced response, there's no built-in way to like have cards interact with each other. And if you add just as like a like in creating a card, you only have, I don't know, 5 or 6 lines worth of room for text on the card. And so if you use like 2 or 3 lines up with a forced response to get rid of the other card, then you have no room for any abilities on that card really. So it was an interesting like design challenge of like, hey, I can't make this work the way I want it to because I just have to go to like tiny font on the card to fit everything. And then as we got further along, it was like that just isn't working. So we kind of like went back to the drawing board and came up with the current design. And then actually like a little bit later on, as we got closer to the final version that we're talking about, I actually printed the cards out, and I had some people over for a game, and we had 2 separate games. I have a big dining room table, so I have room for 2 4-player games at my table. And both of us were playing, testing Doom with different scenarios. And I Boom guy was sitting across. He's a local. He lives close to us, but he was like sitting across the table from me, and I see him pick up the Doom card, and this is a couple of versions ago, and he's like squinting at it, and I'm like, oh, the font is too small. Like this isn't working. Like the font, he can't read that card. He's like holding it out like this, and,
Yeah.
And so that was like a nice wake up call of like, get the physical cards in people's hands and then see what happens. And then I'm like, okay, now I have to go back through every card in this set and make sure that all the font is the full size. And that was kind of like our operating principle from then on, was like, it has to fit with full size font. And if we can't fit it, we have to simplify the rules down to where we can fit it.
Yeah, and between this Doom mod and the other one that is going to be previewed around this coming month as well, I think the hardest thing is, we all are Monday morning quarterbacks when it comes to design with the cards. We see the cards, it doesn't work the way we wish it did, maybe, or like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if they also did this and, did that. And then, it's not as easy as it looks. And, I think the hardest thing, the biggest challenge was just trying to make it fun, thematic, challenging without being punishing. And we were really lucky. As I said, we have like a great group in our area, and people that are helping to run the MCDC event, and getting all the feedback from everybody to try to thread that needle of like trying to hit all those points. It really makes you appreciate how much work has to go into a design of every single thing. I mean, these are only 9 cards. It's really only 3 of them are the same. They're minions that are the same. That's only 6-7 cards, and the other mod is again only like a handful of cards, and then you think like they gotta do hundreds of these every few months. It's I think we hit our points, and I think it's going to be fun for everybody, and I really hope that we tell us your stories if you have any fun things that happen. We're really looking forward to seeing these mods out in the wild at the event. 100 people gathered, kind of having Doom come out all over the place and cause havoc. And it was a lot of work, and I really appreciate everything that Jonah and the rest of the team put together, and all the feedback, and just trying to thread those needles. It really just makes you so appreciative of the game and the work that everybody that makes real cards do all their things. So
yeah, absolutely. These cards look really cool. You can tell that there's been a lot of work that goes into them. I am so pumped to get my hands on them at MCDC in October. And again, if you are not going to be able to make it, they will be available for print and play. So make sure that you're following the Marvel Champions community. I'm sure they'll be posted everywhere. I will also post them on the channel once that link becomes available. So if you're watching here, it'll be around.
Yeah,
but
and we
I have
have
one challenge that I want to kind of put before the group. So we're going to have 100 people playing. Probably, if everyone's playing a 4-player game, we've got 25 games going at once. We could only think of one way mechanically for you to whiff on getting Doom at the beginning of the game. And so my challenge to everybody as they print and play this at home, or as they play it at the event, is to, like, if anybody actually hits that and makes that happen, please come up to us. We have a prize for you as like a kind of like a you did it kind of prize.
Yes, you've unlocked.
It's a very specific situation that has to like 4 things have to happen in sequence. I want to see if somebody can do that and make that happen.
Yes. So we do have a website, mcdc.fun. So there's information there about the schedule and programming. And I do want to say, even though we're sold out, we have a wait list, and we have a newsletter you can get onto the newsletter. So for the future, when we, hopefully, we're planning on doing it every year. So next year. And then additionally, get on the wait list. You never know especially if it's easy to get here, there's might be cancellations and things. So, and I can't wait to see everybody out there, and then also to get the cards to people who can't make it but want to have fun at home online with their friends, and etc.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you all so very much, Brian and Jonah, for hopping on and talking about these really cool cards. Let me know down in the comments if you have figured out that one very specific way to get around Dr. Doom. I'm curious, because I'm trying to think. I'll see if I can come up with something, but let me know down in the comments if you figured out the puzzle. But yeah, I appreciate y'all coming on and talking about this, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing y'all in DC in October.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, everyone. See you around. Bye.